Thank you for joining me today down here at the beach where we're going to drink some tea, talk about life, and enjoy the view. I had a little ladybug land here with me, so I'm guessing today might be the lucky day. Good things ahead. Just a few thoughts on my mind on a beautiful day down here at the beach. So this tea actually comes from a friend of mine, Noah, from Pu-erh Tea. He didn't pay me to say this or anything, but he just gave me some good tea, so check it out sometime. It's really good. A lot of Pu-erh black tea. But anyways, I just wanted to share some thoughts, some things on my mind today that I think could help a few people out. So I've been planning to go on a trip to India here soon, in a few months for my birthday. It's about the end of February now, and I'll be going to India in May. And the reason for my visit to India in May is something I've wanted to do since 2018, actually. And as you may or may not know, I wanted to become a Buddhist monk for many years. And instead of doing that, I found that I can bring a lot of value to the world and share a lot of those principles with people through business and finance. And I really do think I can change the world in a significant way by bringing more compassion and peace into the world's financial system and monetary system. So I decided not to become a Buddhist monk and share ideas and hopefully help the world out a little bit. But on my trip to India in May, I am planning to go to all the Buddhist holy sites, including a meditation course in Bodh Gaya, which is the city where it's said that the Buddha was enlightened. I'm really excited about that. I've been wanting to go there since 2018, and I finally had the chance. I signed up for a meditation course, and it's a special type of meditation course. It actually takes a few years usually to be able to apply for it. They want people that are very devoted to their meditation practice, and it's really something that they bring into their life, something that they're very committed to. So I've been living in a way aligned with being able to go to that meditation course for some time now. And like I said, I've spent many years desiring to go to that meditation course. It's called Satipatthana Sutta course, and it's taught in the tradition of Goenka. That's connected to the free 10-day Vipassana courses around the world where maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but I've gotten a lot of value out of them over the years, and a lot of other people have as well. It's completely free because the benefits of it, I think, are so profound that other people want to give back and they want to donate their time and their energy and their money so that other people can have that same experience of learning about meditation, bringing it into their lives, really gaining a sense of peace and joy through it, really. So I'm going to take the first sip of tea here. Delicious. But the meditation course I'll be going to in May is really around establishing mindfulness. Not just establishing mindfulness during your meditation practice, but throughout the day. So when you're walking, when you're sleeping, when you're laying down, when you're sitting, no matter what you're doing, just really having a sense of awareness of your surroundings. And through that awareness, through that presence, it really brings a sense of solidity into our lives. So going to India in May, I'm hoping to establish myself strongly in the present moment, essentially, because I've found that the present moment is the only place where we're able to find a lot of joy and peace and harmony and bring real and lasting change into our lives. So I'm really looking forward to that meditation course here coming up in India in May. And I actually have something else special planned in May during that time. The full moon in May is actually a very holy time in Buddhism. It's said that that's when the Buddha was enlightened, was during the full moon in May. The Buddha was born in the full moon of May. He was enlightened during the full moon in May, and he actually passed away during the full moon in May. So the full moon in May is a very special time, and I will be in India during that full moon, which I'm really excited about. And May is also when my birthday is. So it seems like a lot of really amazing events lining up, and I'm excited about that. And I wish I didn't have to hold this mic so close to my mouth, but I think it would catch a lot of the sounds of the waves if I didn't, so please excuse me. But I always told myself that if I didn't end up becoming a Buddhist monk, I would at least make these meditation courses a core part of my life because I've found so much peace and harmony through them. And I've always met so many interesting people through them as well. And attending these courses have always really been a big cornerstone in my life. They've brought me a lot of joy and peace over the years. Wow, that was a really strong that was a really strong cup of tea I just poured there. I think it brewed pretty heavily. So maybe I'll have to take it slowly. I've also been thinking a lot about my grandmother who passed away almost 2 years ago now. And she was a little bit rough around the edges, I won't lie. She grew up in different parts of New York. She always used to smoke a lot of cigarettes. She was never afraid of telling people exactly what was on her mind. She was never afraid to ask for the store manager, that kind of thing, you know? But nonetheless, she was a very good person and she had a really profound impact on me when I was a child. And the main thing I think I took away from all my experiences with her was that there's no dream too big. You can follow your dreams. If you put your mind to it, anything is possible. And a lot of what she's taught me from when I was a kid really stuck with me. And I really do think that anything I put my mind to is possible. And when I think about life and I think about purpose, I see no greater purpose than trying to make the world a better place, trying to bring happiness into other people's lives, trying to create peace and harmony in my own life. And I think there's a ripple effect around that. And if we're truly wise about how we seek happiness, I think that it leads to us trying to share happiness with others. And anyway, my grandmother really inspired me to follow my dreams, never take no for an answer from anyone in terms of following your dreams. Obviously, be nice and be courteous and things like that. But I remember no matter what it was, even like when I was skateboarding when I was a child, she would encourage me to, you can do it. Put your mind to it. Visualize yourself completing that trick. Visualize yourself completing that thing on the skateboard. And that always really stuck with me. And so nowadays, I'd like to create a series of books, which I've been doing, that I think could have a really profound impact on the world. And so I feel like I'm just not going to stop until I've created the life and the impact that I know is possible. And I feel my grandma's spirit with me in a sense, kind of sitting there on my shoulder sometimes and encouraging me on, motivating me on to do those things, to really live my dreams and live from my passions and not take no for an answer until you've done what you've set out to do. Oh, wow, that's a strong set of tea. All right. Maybe I will be talking for a little while. I guess I'll just dilute the tea a little bit. That'll be the way. So my grandmother passed about 2 years ago or so, and there was just a lot of life happening at the time and up till now, and just a lot of things going on, as they are with everybody. But long story short, I feel like a lot of my family never really got a proper grieving experience from it for a variety of reasons. We put together a few things to honor her life, but an idea that came to me recently, because we still have some of her ashes, is I'm going to take her ashes to India with me, and I'm going to go to Kushnagar, where the Buddha passed away, and I'd like to spread her ashes there along the river, which is just a famous place for releasing yourself from the body into something greater and going beyond transcending this life. And I think it would be a really beautiful way to honor her life. The really cool part about that is that my birthday is on May 13th and her birthday was on May 12th. So on May 13th, it will be my birthday in India, but it will be her birthday where she was born, May 12th. So it will be a really beautiful experience to honor her life in that way and spread some of her ashes in a place that means so much, from a tradition that has brought me so much peace, and be in one of the Buddhist holy sites. I'd also like to be in Lumbini at some point, where the Buddha was born, Kushnagar, where he passed away, and Saranath, where I believe was his first teaching. I should have those memorized. I'm like 90% sure. Maybe somebody could fact check me on those. But yeah. But it's a wonderful cup of tea, wonderful day down here at the beach. Really just blessed. So I've been meditating pretty much daily since 2018 for most of that time. But I think even more impactful than sitting down and meditating and being with the breath is just the ability to do nothing for long periods. Just the ability to sit with yourself, be with yourself, take a long walk. Just that concept, just that idea has brought a lot of peace into my life, in the sense that I'm able to sit with emotions for a long time, and being able to sit with your emotions for a long time and not distract yourself from them. I'm not sure if I want to say it's one of my greatest skills, I think it's something that I've put a lot of attention to because I know how impactful it can be. But I've spent a lot of time cultivating my ability to be alone, which is something I think everybody should be able to do to a degree. And I just wanted to talk briefly about what I've gained from that ability to sit with my emotions. I remember being at a meditation course many years ago, and prior to that meditation course, I had had a friend pass away. And it was a really sad experience, obviously, but I noticed that that grief period was really condensed into those days being at the meditation course because I didn't have anything to distract myself. I was just there with my emotions of grief, feeling those feelings. And it sort of compressed what felt like a 2-year time period or a 1-year time period of grief into a much shorter time period. Not that I was totally over that sense of grief in 10 days, but I noticed that my ability to sit with my emotions and sit with my grief, sit with my sadness, sit with anxiety, depression, whatever it is, it seemed to transition that period of grief into gratitude in a much shorter time frame. For example, most people out there have had someone that they've loved a lot in their life, a family member, a friend, a loved one. And when you've lost that person, if they've passed away or something like that, there's obviously a sense of grief, especially if you've shared a lot of love together. But over time, that sense of grief transitions into a sense of gratitude for what you've shared. I think for most of us, there's always going to be a somewhat of a sense of longing of missing that person. But eventually you reach the point where you appreciate and you have gratitude for what you have shared together. And I remember that when my friend had passed away, that transition time from grief to gratitude seemed much faster than it normally would have. And a lot of people question the idea of what's the point of living in the present moment? What's the point of mindfulness or meditation, things like that? And my answer would be that all the negative things that we feel in our life due to circumstances, we don't necessarily have to feel those in the way that we currently do. There's a different way to live because all those negative feelings that we experience, they're more of a product of our inside rather than what's objectively going on the outside. And so when you can sit with your emotions, when you can sit with yourself, when you can just be present, when you can go on a walk and be with the sights and the smells and the feelings, you can get a lot more of the positivity out of life, I guess is what I'm saying. Another thing I've noticed recently is that there's a lot of people with their hearts in the right place. If you can imagine people protesting things that are bad in the world or people that are trying to change things that are bad in the world, there's a lot of people out there that have their hearts in the right place, trying to bring more compassion and empathy and positivity into the world. But one thing that they may be lacking is stability of mind. Because if you come to these problems with a sort of chaotic energy, with a sort of anxious energy, it's just not going to be as productive as if you're able to come to these situations with a stable mind, with the ability to think things through clearly. So I guess my advice to anybody out there who's trying to change the world, and especially the economist Gary Stevenson, who I love a lot. I think he's amazing and I really look up to him a lot. I think if we're going to make big changes to the world, especially to the world's economic outlook, I think it's going to come from one, changing how individuals experience their emotions on the inside, and two, coming to these problems with more stability of mind. Because even when it seems like these are issues that need to be taken very, very seriously, and they do, because there's a lot of people's lives at risk if we don't make the world's economic system more fair. But we also need to come at it with an attitude of equanimity. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a time and place for righteous anger. I think sometimes compassionate anger may be the only way to get a point across. So sometimes you may need to raise your voice. Sometimes you may need to be a little bit more intense so that people understand where you're coming from. I think that's often kind of rare. I think usually you can transmit a message much stronger through peace and silence and stability and just a concise message that comes from a place of peace But these are just some thoughts I've been having in terms of how we can actually create lasting impact in the world. And I've been thinking a lot about the global wealth gap and how that gap between the haves and the have-nots has just been growing substantially over the last few generations, and what we can really do about it, because the people that own assets are owning more assets, and the people that are sort of behind with their wages getting lost to inflation just continue to be deeper and deeper in the hole every year, it seems like. So what can we really do about that? Because when we look in the past, we see that people were able to meet their basic needs perhaps a lot more, especially here in the United States and in many developed countries around the world. So if anybody out there knows Mr. Gary Stevenson, the economist, I'd love to have a chat with him sometime. And I think we will. I think it will happen. I'd love to share some ideas with him, and I'd love to bounce some ideas around. He's a really influential guy, and he's had a big impact on me. And I think there's a few things that we could discuss. So if anybody out there knows how to reach him or could get us in contact, I would really appreciate that. I think it would be a fun time. And I would only need perhaps 30 minutes of his time. So, Gary, if you're watching this, I'd love to talk to you. And if you're not, then I will get in front of you at one point. That's a promise. What else have I been thinking about while I'm sitting down here at the beach drinking tea? Well, anyway, it's a pretty darn good day. I feel like I'm living the dream right now. But anybody watching out there, I'd love to hear some of your ideas down in the comments, what you think are some of the best and most impactful ways that we can bring positive change to the world, because I still feel really strongly that if we fix the money, we fix the world. If we fix humanity's relationship to money, we're able to make the world a much better place. We're just using money, the US dollar, that's losing value. And one of the definitions of money is a store of value. And I feel very strongly that if money isn't holding value over time, then by definition, it's not money. By definition, it's not creating the psychological impacts that it should be. It's not creating the foundation that it should be. So I feel really adamant about that, but I'd love to hear some other people's ideas of what they think could be some of the lowest hanging fruit in terms of making the world a better place. We got sharks out there? Oh, crap. Well, the lifeguards over here just told me that there was a shark sighting, so I might not be going in the water today like I thought. Something else that's really impacted me in terms of how to make the world a better place is an idea that I picked up, I think mostly from the book, The Science of Being Well, one of those Wallace Wattles books. But one thing that really stuck out with me is that in order to make the world better, it's important to not fix the negative things, but to focus on the positive things. And that definitely seems like a psychological flip to a degree. Obviously, things are going to come up in life. There's going to be some sort of issue or some sort of problem. But when those do come up, you have to address it sincerely. But I think it's also important to visualize and think of what the perfect outcome would be and work to create that. So in that light, I've had another book on my radar for a little while that I've been meaning to write, and I'd like to call it The Digital Renaissance. I'd like to call it The Digital Renaissance, and for me, that would be a vision of what the future would look like if we were using money properly, if humanity had a positive relationship to the monetary system instead of it being kind of controlled and manipulated by a few handful of decision makers. Because I truly believe that if the average person, if the majority of people were able to work hard and save that hard work in a form of currency, in a form of value that didn't degrade over time, most people, they work and they save in something like the US dollar or the euro or the pound or something like that, but it does lose its value to inflation unless it's invested into the markets in most cases. But most people don't want to have to invest or learn about companies or put their money into the market where it's going up and down in order to preserve their purchasing power. So I think if we were able to use money in a more responsible way, use something more akin to the gold standard of the past, but if we had something more of a digitalized version of that, I think the world could actually be a much better place. And my vision of that, I'd like to outline in the book, The Digital Renaissance, because I think it's important to give people hope and sort of a vision of what that would look like, rather than just saying, hey, we need to fix X, Y, and Z, and these things are so terrible and so bad. Let's just like fix all these terrible things. I think it's important to have a positive vision of the future as well. just to give people hope in a way like that. I don't even really have much of an outline for that book. I've been working mostly on the Big Wealth, Big Gap book, but that's something out in the future, is the digital renaissance, which I'm going to be really excited to share here. But I wish I could be sharing more videos with you all during the week. It's just been kind of busy lately. The financial planning practice has been growing pretty substantially. A lot of new clients, a lot of new assets. So really can't complain. It's been a blessing, and it's an honor to have people trust us with their life savings. And I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity and to be in the position that I am. And I really want to leverage that and do more good for the world. And so this has kind of been my outlet lately, but I wish I could make more videos during the week, but there's a lot to attend to during the week as well. So I'm sort of not limited to the weekend, but most of these videos are going to be coming out on the weekends. But I do truly appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been really awesome to see how well received these videos have been, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to allow the universe to shine through me and share ideas with you. I feel blessed beyond compare, so it feels like the only thing to do at this point is to work hard and give back and hopefully make the world a little bit of a better place, and drink some tea on the beach and share some ideas. So anyway, that's probably what I'm most excited about right now in my life, is getting to go to Bodh Gaya, India, and live like a monk and practice meditation and be around a lot of inspiring people, especially on such an auspicious time during the full moon in May, which is also going to be right around my birthday, which is also going to be right around my grandma's birthday, and I can go spread her ashes and honor her life. And I think the best way to honor her life is to live my dreams, which is something that she always told me to go do. So I feel her spirit with me on the back of my shoulder, and I'm excited to go and live the dream and hopefully give back and make the world a better place. Everybody out there, I'd love to know what you're most excited about in life right now. It really is a blessing to even have the opportunity to be excited about things, because a lot of people out there, they're caught up in some pretty stressful situations and they don't really have that opportunity. So if you've got something to be excited about, please be grateful for it. I'd love for you to share something down in the comments. But it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful opportunity. And I really do truly appreciate everybody tuning in and sharing some tea with me out here on the beach on a beautiful, lovely day in Southern California. And I look forward to creating a lot more and sharing a lot more. So stay tuned for that. Got a lot more videos on the way. Got a lot more books on the way. Got a lot more peace, love, harmony, respect, and hopefully improvement to the world along the way. So thanks again for tuning in with me today, and I will see you next time on Tea on the Beach with Max.